All right. Everything is set up. And we should be about ready to get started. So, let's see. What are we doing today? Today, the goal is to add in some production. As usual. Today, we're trying to get motors up, which is going to be relatively complicated, but we can manage it. So, in order to do that, first we need Caterium, and we need quartz crystals, which means we need to add two more resources into the new city. Now, we have like manual inputs from individual nodes. I believe that's quartz over there, and then Caterium over there. But I want to scan to see where the nearest quartz is. It's far. Okay. Apparently nowhere to be found. Okay, there's some down there. There's that stuff up there, which is what I've been using. And then there's some way over there by the water. Okay. This would be near a train line already, right? Let's actually investigate how we built that train line, because we might be able to hijack it if it's a two-way train line. We can stick an extra intersection off of it, and that would be very convenient. Of course, it might not be a two-way train line, in which case we'll have to do a whole new thing. Alright, so water supplier appears to be two one-way train lines. Yeah, and in fact the water supplier is even a double-headed. Alright, but what if we changed that? Let's see, if we wanted to make this instead of this being like water and oil as two separate things, if we wanted to make this a loop, let's see, we could like cut the line in here, and then I don't know, let's just use the quartz we have. Like, quartz is not a high volume product. Like one or two pure nodes max overclocked will be more than enough, I think. And Caterium is a bit more high demand. Let's see how Caterium works. Let's see, yeah, we have the one node right next to us that we've been using. And then we have another one down south. And then one way up north by the quartz. Alright. And that's a normal node. That one up there is a pure node. Let's grab a pure node of Caterium. It's a bit higher volume than quartz, so it's probably worth doing. So we're going to head over here, and we're going to set up a train. And I think we'll set up like a single track, or a double track technically, going up that way, that'll grab both the Caterium and the quartz that's up there. So we just need to get space for that, which would be down here, obviously, on the train track level. So let's build this foundation out a ways. And let's see, not going to cause any problems doing it this way, right? Probably not. I think we'll put it like facing this way just so that both of these can expand out. I don't know. Facing this way would also be fine. Facing like this way would be more natural, I guess. Let's do that. Probably at some point I'm going to like rip out all of the train infrastructure and rebuild the whole thing, like more deliberately, but for now this is good enough. So we want that to be there. And we want a couple of freight platforms. We're not going to need 3 for Caterium, but we have 3. So there we go. And then we need some space out this way for the track to loop around. And we need some space out this way for the exporting. So let's set that up. And then let's get this loop set in first. And okay, we need more horizontal space if we want it to turn that sharp. Alright, like so. And then this comes in like there. Alright, now we just expand this out into the distance. And expand that out. Like there. And then hook the loop up and should be good to go. Now we just head over this way. And this is definitely low enough that those tracks aren't going to be a problem. So now we just build a nice long foundation over this way. And the Caterium is up there somewhere. I don't know exactly where, but it's somewhere up this way. I'm just gonna head over here and find it. Hey look, a coal power plant. That's fun. It's been a while since I've been out this way. Alright. Overshot the jump. Now we're getting close enough. I want to do a scan to see where exactly it is. I'm gonna keep on digging. That way? Oh, that's just a completely different one. Okay, it's over this way more. So we're gonna go up another 10 and then probably turn here. Actually, wait, is this one pure? It disappeared at that exact moment. If that one's pure, it's probably closer. It is. Alright, let's go grab this one then. Technically we could grab both, but we don't need that much Caterium. Seems like overkill for what we're doing. We barely need like a couple ingots. Alright, keep on heading over. And right on top of it now should be right around here. Yep, I see it. I believe it's down there, covered by that rock. Alright, let's get over to it. And then we just need to turn over this way and start building up a train station in this general vicinity. This is probably already close enough. Three, 4, 5. Alright, yeah, it's pretty much directly beneath us. That works out. So let's get this train station in like that. And, I mean, we're only going to need one freight platform, right? Because it can't possibly give more than a single belt, because it's a single node. Alright, so we have that. Now we just need to set up the connection. So let's get a floor hole. And a conveyor lift. And I'm gonna assume that those are connected. Actually, if I attach it like that, then I'll know it's connected because it was snapped into that. Alright, cool. So now we have that. We need to drop the conveyor lift down. And also get a ladder so that we can get down and back up ourselves.
I'm not sure this is an improvement.
Thank you, Ada. Alright, so then we take the ladder down. And take the conveyor lift down. And I just realized we're also going to need power. So let's grab a power line. And I guess it's going to need to be a power tower in order to reach far enough to be convenient. Alright, so then we have that. That should be all connected. So now we come down here, continue on dropping the ladder. And continue on dropping the ladder. Basically there at this point. That didn't go down far enough at all. Alright. The conveyor lift has reached the surface. The ladder has reached the surface. Now we take an explosive. that up. And we stick a minor Mark II on it. And we'll overclock it to be a full belt. And attach it up. Alright, now we can just climb back up, build the rail connection back, and then hook that other power plant, that other rail station up to the power grid, and then that will serve to connect this whole thing to the power grid, and we'll have Caterium. Alright, so that is all connected. And actually, I just realized. So, it's only a single belt, but because of the whole buffering thing, we actually need to take both outputs. God, that's going to be annoying, isn't it? Okay, I think because I already have that connected in, it'll be easier to drop down a wall and do a thing down here. Alright. So this does that. We need a splitter, actually. And we need another floor hole lined up with this one, but a ways back, so like there. Oh, this is going to be annoying, isn't it? Or not? Do they just line up? I think I built the wrong direction lift. Build mode reversed. Alright, cool. So now we have that. We can head up here. And bring that up. And in. So now it will fill it faster than usual. I think this will work. Actually, I think what we need is a storage container. So let's actually take that apart. So if we have a storage container here, and then this feeds into that, and then this loops back around and up. Alright, that should work. So this should be able to manage it all on its own most of the time. Then when the train stops, the backup will go into this storage container, and then it'll empty faster than the belt should to catch back up. Cool. Alright, and then there's no chance of this ever being expanded past this quantity just because of the belt speed. It's a single node, which means that there's no need to put additional things on here. We can just expand it out, make the loop, and then be done. Alright, so we have that. We have that. now we need... Alright, that... We need that to hook up, which it's not going to want to do. Alright, so let's get that railway in. Why would you want to do it like that? Yes, do it the way that makes sense, not the way that doesn't make sense. Thank you. Alright, we need to rename this as Caterium Source. Source 480. Yep, alright, cool. Now we just need... We just need to attach this up to that, which I guess that works. And now we just bring this all the way back. And hopefully this won't take too long. Fortunately, building rails is relatively quick. Don't drift off to the side. Alright, so then we grab it again. And keep on going. We are coming up on another curve. So let's make sure that it's ready past the curve. And then place that in. Now this just goes straight on. Straight on to the city. Almost there. Building sky bridges is like the greatest thing ever. Alright, just a little further. And boom. Alright, now we go here. We call you Ethereum Supplier. And first things first, let's find a power source to attach this to. Like this random pole there. Alright, now that whole thing is set up. Now we just stick a train in. Train. Freight car. And go to the two locations. And this near one is set to unload. Just set all of these just in case at some point in the future we expand it so it doesn't break for no apparent reason. Train, why are you not running? Alright, I think it's just confused because it's in the wrong order. Yeah, okay. It was confused because the next station it wanted to go to was technically directly behind it. Alright, so now we have that. The next thing we need to do is set up the storage container Otherwise it'll face the same problem on this side, except this needs to be on this one. Yes, alright. So we have... Actually, this needs to be industrial, I think. It needs to be industrial so it can have 2 input belts. And it will just manage it completely normally. Alright, so we have that. And now we can take 1 output belt from this into the city, which we need to actually expand off in this direction. So that's this one. Build mode. Blueprint snapping. Very convenient. Alright. So this has to come over this way. And the next intersection is here. Alright, so that is that. Now we have this nice big open space, which I guess we can use for the Caterium input. There's no reason why we couldn't. So let's put in a floor tile there. And let's see here. So we have the floor tile there. We have that. So I'm thinking we could be able to fit the Caterium input and ingots in this same tile, potentially, if there's enough space. So we would need one stop for the Caterium inputs. We would need one stop for water inputs and empty canister outputs, and one stop for Caterium ingot outputs. And yeah, this should be enough space. So let's drag this along here. Alright, it doesn't technically quite line up with the other building over there, because that one was lined up with that street, and this one's lined up with this street, but that doesn't really matter at all, I don't think. So then this has 1 tile, 2 tiles, 3 tiles. And, alright, this is empty canister output. So this being close like this is fine. Actually, yeah, it's fine. If we knock these walls out, then the truck stop should have room to turn around it. Speaking of truck stop, let's put this guy in. And we have an industrial beam shortage, as always when building anything. So I would like to, if possible, not use this one, which should be relatively simple. Alright, so let's put 2 billboards up. Set this. This one we want the layout to be just the icon, and then we want the icon to be other monochrome, yes. Warning. Don't use this one. It's not got enough space. Alright, then we have another truck stop here. Which goes in like that. And then we have one more truck stop there. But this truck stop is the canisters in and water out. So let's set this one up. Or water in, canisters out, I guess. So red is output. So we'll call this canister. And its output is empty canisters. Empty canisters. And then this one is input packaged water. And get that space in there. Change the icon. Alright, now we just have to copy paste these across to the other side. Alright, Control C. And Control V. And then we head over this one, we do Control C. And Control V. So that's that. And let's copy this one over to here, but then change it to deuterium ingots. And output deuterium ingots. And then we just need to deal with this last one, which goes there. And this is output deuterium ore. So we need this one. Output colon space deuterium ore. Select icon. And then paste this across both of those, and then more importantly onto the front where it's actually seen. V, Control V. Alright, train stops are, or truck stops are all set up. We just need to attach that into this. And also confirm that there is in fact deuterium ore here. Which hopefully should be just showing up now. Yep, that's definitely a cargo container with stuff in it. So in we go. And deuterium ore will start flooding soon. Yep, there we go. Alright, so now we have this box. We need to get up to both of these. Alright, so that would be over here. in the to transportation section. So let's get a pair of conveyor lift floor holes. Let's do this side. And there. And I've put these in backwards. So let's make sure to do it right this time. And take that one out and don't mess it up. Alright, so we have that. Now we just need to drop down there and attach from that box into it. And we're going to need to do some quick balancing. So let's get some space there. And I actually have a blueprint for just balancing things, right? Probably ended up somewhere down in here. Let's see. I know I made a blueprint for this. Yes, the 2-to-2 belt balancer. So plop that in. And attach those in. And now we can be sure that each half of that will be getting the appropriate amount instead of one half randomly getting more or less because industrial storage containers are dumb. So let's get those in and run the belts along the ceiling to get over to this side. And then down over there. Nice and simple. There's not really that much space constraints down here. Alright, and then these loop around. And up they go. Alright, we have Caterium ore in the Caterium ore output. That's pretty great. At least it should be appearing any second now. Come on. Where is it? Huh. It seems to be stuck. Why is it stuck? What is going on here? Does this belt not actually connect in? Huh? But why? Alright, what if I take that apart, put it back like that? Oh, duh. I need to actually attach these power cables together. Truck stations don't accept cargo when they are not powered on. So we just do a little bit of that. Easy mistake to make. And now it's just doing the weird thing where it fills up everything first. Alright. We have that. Now we need to make the actual Caterium or Caterium refinery blueprint. Did I make a blueprint for that? Let's search Caterium. No, the only one I have is the old Mark 1. And that's no good. I need the new stuff. So let's get over to the blueprint machine, and it should be as simple as firing up the the iron ingot blueprint and just changing the recipes. So let's load up pure iron V2. Alright, so we have this loaded up. Now we need to get in here, swap all of the refineries to pure Caterium, pure Caterium, pure Caterium, and pure Caterium. And how much is this going to be? This is 12, 24, 36, 48. God, it's kind of abysmal, isn't it? 48 Caterium ingot output with 24 ore and water in. Alright, well, let's... Yeah, it's 48 and then 96 water. Can the water unpackager actually do 96? It probably can, yeah, easily. Set that to 96. And let's see, just make sure these belts are enough. Looks like it's Mark II all the way. And the output is even faster for no particular reason. Alright, so that is that. 48 Caterium, 96 inputs for 48 outputs. So this is pure Caterium V2. Inputs are 96 Caterium ore and 96 packaged water. Output 48 Caterium ingots. And we save that. And we clear the blueprint designer. And there we go back up. And I think I should probably run a new hypertube. Yeah, let's do that. Let's get a new hypertube going that goes directly over to from the blueprint designer to the new city. So we need support with an entrance on it. And find a random power line. There we go. Alright. And then we just run the hypertube over this way. And up like that, I guess. And we need a maintenance ladder real quick. Just to a random spot on the bottom of the old city. So let's climb up this. And now we put a wall in, which gives us a floor that we can stand on. And then we just have to bring this hypertube, which I don't have access to currently. Build that. And you can come along this way. And I forgot that I hadn't finished building this section before I went and tried to stand on it. Alright, I need to find, like, a good, relatively unobtrusive spot to land, which I think will be... There's regular foundation there. So we can come up there, and we're never going to put anything in that spot. So let's not fall off the city. And this might be a bit of a problem as far as these foundations I'm building could potentially block future train stations. It's probably fine. Alright. And then you go back over that way. And then up and on. And finally, we stick an entrance there. And power it up. And now we can get back to and from the blueprint designer relatively quickly and without much hassle. Now, going up that giant cliff is going to take a while, but not really much you can do about that, aside from just moving on up. And speaking of hypertubes, I want to make a hypertube cannon at some point, just so that I don't have to run back and forth between like the power setup and this place. But that is not super urgent. Alright, we are back. And now we have this spot, which I'm fairly certain is large enough to fit a Caterium factory. So we have the ore there. We have the water input and output there, so this would be probably the most convenient spot to put it. So it goes there, and yep, there is enough space. We love to see it. Alright, now we just need to find pure Caterium V2. And we need more encased industrial beams in the inventory for it, of course. Caterium. Alright, now we just need to get this lined up like that. And we place it in. Alright. Now we have that. The next step is figuring out which inputs and outputs go where. So let's get in and see. If I were doing it now, the right input would be Caterium and the left input would be water. Yeah, okay. So left input is water. Right input is Caterium. So let's just grab belt of this, stick it in there. And then grab belt of this. which is going to be hard to snipe from while flying, but that goes in there. And then I believe that this far left output was the fluids. So that goes there. And then this output goes up and over to the Capterium. Alright, now we just need to run some truck lines, and really only two for now. We need to run water in and canisters out. And we also need to power this on. So where's the power pole? Power pole, where are you? It's going to be in some weird spot on the second floor, I guess. So let's get up here. And grab that. Bring it down to there. And while I was up on that second floor, the inputs look suspiciously like they're attached to Mark 1 belts, which is not going to work. Yep, those need to be Mark 4s. Alright. So now we have Caterium trickling in. This is... something is going too slow in here. I think I had to fix this on the iron ingot one as well. So that's... I'm pretty sure like this belt up here is the problem. Yeah. There we go. Now we're going full speed ahead on that. And now I just need to get out again. Alright, so powered on. So yeah, we just need to find the packaged water and drive a tractor over here. Alright, packaged water, where are you? Packaged water, where are you? That's oil, that's plastic. Is this packaged water? No, this is packaged water. Alright, so we take this, we go in there, and it's over there-ish somewhere. And this truck stop is being used a lot. This one isn't, so we'll use this one. Alright, that in. And obviously we need to fuel it up, which I was trying to do. I was hitting the button and nothing was happening. Alright, so it's fueled up. Start recording. We load her up. And we loop around the edge. And out through here. Now, I think we have to go all the way down this side, past the hypertube. And then up this way. Alright, I see the packaged water input. Alright, so then we stop here. Do that. Loop around. Why does this one not have... the center pole thing. Something has gone wrong with that one, with that truck stop. Alright. Now where on Earth is this one? Okay, I turned too early. But that's fine, we're just gonna have to be the 10 millionth person to do a U-turn at this exact intersection. Alright. U-turn complete. And in. So we save that as water to Caterium. Enable autopilot, hide path nodes, and off it goes. Yep, you have fun with that, Mr. Tractor. Whatever you're doing. Alright. He seems to be struggling just a little bit. Sir, are you okay? Why are you blue and just sitting there uselessly? And why are you not taking anything? Alright, well, let's head over there. I believe it's this one. So, yeah, this truck stop got set into the ground for some reason. Which, I don't understand why it does that sometimes, but that is the problem. So let's just... I mean, I don't even know if it'll see it set into the ground like that, but hopefully it will. Alright, it does seem to be triggering it. It does not seem to have grabbed any water on that first trip, which is probably fine, but is something to keep a bit of an eye on. Alright, now the other question is fuel. So let's get a belt of fuel up in here just to make sure. You can never have the fuel too well distributed. And this one needs that. And we'll have a belt of fuel going into this one as well. Alright, now we need to find the fuel lines. They're just over there. It probably doesn't need fuel, but I'm going to give it to all of these just in case. Like, it's kind of, it doesn't really cost anything, even if it isn't necessary. So there we go. Those are attached to fuel. Now let's head on down here. And put a splitter there. And start dragging this fuel line over to it. Alright, so we have there. And I need to head over this way to get this one. And then this one is like awkwardly right in the way of the train stop, but just gonna not worry about that. that hooks those up. And then we bring this one back here. And hook all of those up. Alright, so that should be fuel supplied to those. Whether it's necessary or not, unclear, but it exists. And what also exists is water. So that's a huge success. We should now be producing Caterium ingots. And I'm just gonna stand here and wait and see. And then we'll have to run the canister output, of course. And also we're gonna have to... Alright. There we go. There's the canisters are doing that thing. Obviously some of them are just gonna sit here indefinitely. But then eventually they're going to start piling up in the truck stop. Alright, for some reason the canisters should theoretically be piling up here as well. Alright, yeah. And as the canisters start piling up, we should also see Caterium starting to show up as well, and we do. That's great. Alright, now the canisters are here. The canister return is this giant behemoth right next to it. So let's get a tractor in. Give it some fuel. Grab some fuel for myself. And you can stop there, loop around this way, head over here, and then go up this way to the canister return. Nice and easy. Alright, and then you can just stop in here, I guess. Click unload. And then navigate your way back out. Don't fall over the ledge. And just complete the loop. Alright, then don't get hit by a passing truck. Alright, something horrible has happened. We have missed the finish line. Alright, let's get rid of some of this nonsense. Alright, and then it stops here. It loads up, and then it moves on. It definitely doesn't stop here, right? There's no way it stops there. Alright, save path as Caterium canister return. V2. And enable autopilot, hide path nodes, off you go. And he's causing all sorts of mayhem as he goes. But hopefully he won't break things. And I think in the future, I'm gonna try to make sure I only have one tractor doing all of the canister returns. But it's probably going to be easier to set them up one by one and then like group them together later, rather than constantly redoing the group every single time I add a single thing. Alright. Well, that's Caterium all set up and ready to go. And I mean, hopefully that this will work. I want to see the truck show up and actually do its thing, just so that I know nothing horrible is going to happen on this route. Because there was that weird turning problem right at the end as well. It probably is going to be this one. Alright. And past the Caterium ore. And in it goes. Took the turn a little bit slow, but not to a concerning degree. Yep. And there goes all the canisters. And that's probably fine. Not going to worry too much about that. Where's all this fuel going? Mostly over to this side for some reason. Yeah, there just isn't that much fuel making it all the way through all this line of splitters to begin with. But it will make its way, and it'll definitely be fast enough to keep up with the incredibly tiny demand. Alright, so that's Caterium, check. Next up is quartz. So we already have this quote-unquote stop, which is filled with quartz. I don't particularly want to use this. And it's also being fed directly through some rather dubious means, but it's probably fine. No, oh, this is one of the dangerous ones that's like all messed up. Yeah, let's get a new quartz stop in, and frankly, like, we'll still do it in this area because the quartz input is right there, but I don't want to use that. So let's just use this one instead. Just stick a truck stop on it, and like that. Alright, and then we put the floor holes there and there, and we bring them up, and we bring them up, and into transportation, Now we just need to... Do I disable this? I mean, it's technically doing something, right? It's powering this old crystal oscillator factory, which I'm going to be reproducing in probably this stream, unless something takes incredibly long for some reason. Like, it's literally going to be the next thing I do, I think. So yeah, I'm just gonna tear this out. And actually, this old factory doesn't use the crystal oscillators for anything, right? Yeah, there's not even an output for it, even if it wanted to. So yeah, we're just going to redirect these into those. Alright, so we take these lifts out and bring them up just to like this general height so that I can use them. And bring them onto this foundation. And it's these two floor holes, so let's bring those down as well. Alright, so that goes into that one. This one goes into that one. And we need to hook this up power-wise. Boom. And now this will slowly run out over a fairly long period of time, and that crystal oscillator plant over there will eventually stop working, which is good. We want this whole thing, we want that whole thing to shut down anyway. Alright, somewhere in here there's a bottleneck, or is this just not that much quartz? How much quartz is this? So if we just make this line of quartz going back Mark 4, it's going to take forever, and it's probably only like 240 quartz to begin with. Yeah, it's probably fine. It's probably like 240 if I had to guess. If I had to guess, it's probably somewhere in the 240 vicinity. Maybe it's exactly 270, but I doubt it. I mean, it's obviously going to look like 270 for a while because backlog. Oh, hang on, this whole belt is Mark 4. It might actually be 480, and I just didn't have the beams to get it all the way last time. Let's upgrade it all the way. I'm feeling somewhat confident in my beam supply at the moment, perhaps mistakenly. So let's bring this at top speed all the way over. We'll see if it actually manages to make it. It looks like it's going at 480. So obviously there's a box in there, right? So that's gonna have to drain. But we should be able to go back over there and see if the box is being filled at 480 or not. I don't know why those belts over there would be as fast as they are if it wasn't. Alright, the input to the box definitely isn't 480. It looks more like 240. Which is still fine. Again, the amount of quartz we need is not enormous. Like, technically we need, what, like 18-ish? Alright, Alright, so let's head on up. And I believe we need... Oh, we need rubber. That's the next thing we need. Which is going to take even more of our poor empty canisters to produce. I guess let's check on the empty canisters stockpile real quick. It's probably fully refilling at this point. Like, the absence of canisters has probably trickled through. Yeah, looks like it. And if we look... Okay, it's only a couple stacks short of full. Yeah, it's only a couple stacks short of full. Although I feel like that is probably still in the process of changing, but we'll see. Lots of manifolds to fill. So let's get the rubber in. So I want the rubber to be over here, just because the plastic is over here. So we're going to set up basically that exact thing, but with one tiny setting change. So we get... Okay, set that off of build mode blueprint so that it lines up properly. Get that floor tile. Get that looping around it. We have another floor tile with that looping around it. And it fits in perfectly. Then that gets a floor tile. Alright, now we put it in truck stop number 1, and we snap it to the blueprint. Then we wait for the industrial beams to show up so we can put in truck stop number 2. And that's going to take a while, of course. And I guess while we're waiting, the large billboards also use encased industrial beams, so this isn't really helping, but may as well plop that in. So this right one is fuel input. Yeah, so actually we can literally just copy the whole plastic thing, but with one change. So we copy that setting. Come over here. That's the fuel input. And that doesn't need to exist, because that side is empty. Alright, then that one gets its truck stop. And we get 2 billboards in there. There and there. And we copy paste these settings. So that one goes to this one. And then this one goes to the far one, and then we just have to change it from plastic to rubber. Select icon. Rubber, output, rubber. Alright, so that is the truck stop set up. Then the next thing to do is the actual factory itself, which we probably don't have the resources to build. So let's at least try. Do we have... No, we never made a V2. So we can just pop in a plastic V2 and... Yeah, okay. We definitely don't have the resources to build that. So instead, let's run the tractor lines while we wait. So the fuel output is over there. And the canisters are going to the canister return, of course. Alright, transport, tractor. Tractor in. Give it half a stack of fuel. And start recording. So we loop around onto this road. Then we hang a left here. And we become the 10 billionth person to do a U-turn at that intersection. Alright, so then we turn here. And we stop here right behind the other guy doing the same thing. Come on. Let's... Uh-oh. Okay, that could have gone better. But we made it. We're gonna have to delete a wait. Alright, then we come along over here. And we turn in. That needs to be set to unload. And then we need to come over here. And there was a pause that we accidentally made. We're gonna have to get rid of. Delete that. And let's see if things look normal over here. Okay, there's another pause there. Alright. Not too bad. And we save this as fuel for rubber. Enable autopilot, hide path nodes, and have fun. Off you go. Oh, and we need to power all this stuff on. So there's that. There's that. And I don't know if we actually have enough fuel production to do this, but we will see. Because the plastic uses a fair amount of fuel. Although I don't think I'm using the plastic fully, so it's probably fine. So let's go plastic V2. Place it in, facing the correct direction. Alright, and now we need to change the ingredients around. So this needs to be recycled plastic. This needs to be recycled rubber. This needs to be recycled rubber. And the packager is fine, obviously. Now, does this work as intended? So that takes in... I feel like I had to fix this at some point. I really need to actually fix my blueprints before just using them. But that makes 60 plastic. Half of which goes there, half of which goes there. Yeah, probably fine. Although I definitely remember there being a problem with this blueprint. Okay, well, first of all, I'm going to have to get the rubber off of these belts. Why is there a random rubber just sitting in the smart splitter? Oh, was this one of the ones where I didn't hook up the back half or something? No, it looks like I did. Alright, right is any, left is overflow. Yeah, this all looks correct to me. So let's start by priming the pump, so to speak. You get some rubber. You get some plastic. And we need to find power cable. The power cable is going to be on the second floor. It is apparently nighttime in game. Please. Alright. So that's filling up with rubber as intended. Yeah, I assume that's the plastic getting in the way. Oh, is this just a smart splitter that wasn't attached properly? Yeah, okay. Okay, I got stuck underneath a pipe. I'm going to take that belt out and put it back in because there's rubber on it, and I can't get that rubber easily. Similar things happening here. Alright. Everything seems to be working, assuming fuel eventually shows up. Which you'd think it would have by now. Okay, there's a truck just there. We definitely have a truck stop filled with fuel. Ah. Obviously, I need to actually attach it in. So in you go. And then we have two outputs, one of which is rubber, the other of which is empty canisters. So we take the empty canisters output, bring it... Actually, it just goes directly into this one, right? Which one goes where? Alright, empty canisters is the close one, rubber is the far one. So we get over here. We attach that up to that. And then that down and into there. And then the rubber comes down and into there. And theoretically, this should be functional. Is it functional? Who knows? But at least for now, I see canisters coming out. I don't see all that much rubber coming out. That's making the plastic. That's making rubber. That's making rubber. It's making its way along now. In batches, it looks like. Alright, wait, was there a problem where... I think I actually did just... My memory just clicked and caught a problem. So this is splitting the rubber between both sides. Oh, no, that is correct. Right is any, left is overflow. Seems to be functional. Alright, so that is that. And now the only thing left for this is to drive the empty canisters back to the return. Just going to take another tractor and do that real quick. You get your fuel. Start recording. Load her up. And we loop around. And then we come up this way. And we take a U-turn. And gosh, is it this one? No, I think it's the next stop. Alright. It's raining quite a bit in real life. That's interesting. Alright. In you go. And loop around the edge. Back onto the road. And now we go around. Alright, then we go around this whole thing. And keep on going. And we take a left here and then in, and that'll be done. Alright. Left there. And in. Alright, we save path as rubber canister return V2. Enable autopilot. Hide path nodes. Good luck. Alright, that's that. And he seems to be doing the classic thing where they start off very, very confused. Alright, geez, it sure is raining outside. Alright, but we have rubber and we have deuterium. So now we just need to remember what exactly all of this was for. Crystal oscillators and eventually motors. Which I think we can probably build in here. So we need to input quartz, rubber, and something else, I think. Let's get it out of the street and check. Crystal oscillators V2. Hello? Description, please. Does it not show you the description when you have searched for it? Alright, so I need deuterium ingots, I need rubber, I need plastic, and I need quartz. So that's 4 inputs for 1 output, which is quite a lot. But let's get them in. It's quite a lot compared to what I've been doing, but it's ultimately still relatively simple. So that is 2 of the inputs. That is the thing that goes between them. Alright, then that is the other 2 inputs. And this also does have the space for 3x2, which seems sensible to me. 1, 2, and 3. And so then this is the oscillator's output. And we are going to need... Let's just grab encased industrial beams into our inventory. Are we still, like, directly above where they're produced? Pretty close. Yeah, let's just head over there and grab a whole bunch of them. And while we're there, we can see if we're close to a shortage again. Ah, yes. Alright. We are very close to a shortage, in fact. Close enough to a shortage that I don't know that I am... Yeah, I'm definitely not going to be able to finish this project today if this is our encased industrial beam reserves. That's pretty dire. And this is already summer slooped. So let's head in and confirm that it's summer slooped, but fairly certain it is. These crusty old machines. I don't make blueprints this way anymore. Yeah, so that's already slooped. Now I could increase the speed of this even further with more sloops. Like, I could overclock this and then sloop the steel beams and concrete input, which I guess. So if we get this up to 30 per minute, that would be enough where we would basically never run out, I think. We need 45 steel beams and 90 concrete. This is the steel beams. And we can't get up to 45 without another summer sloop. So there. That's 45 steel beams. Assuming we have the ingots for it, which we don't. And then we need 90 concrete. This is making... These machines are making 15 apiece. So if we max overclock these, they get up to 37.5. We summer sleep 1 up to 75. And then the other one can then go down to like 15. And that's 90 concrete. Although I need to then upgrade these belts to move that much concrete. Please, that one bug that they said they fixed apparently has not been fixed. Alright, but that's the concrete production, and now we just need a preposterous amount of limestone and steel. Gosh, it is raining like crazy outside. I don't know if you guys can hear that or not, but it's crazy loud. Alright, so we need this to be overclocked. I don't know how much. So if we bring that up to 90 steel. And let's just check how much steel we actually need total. So this makes the steel beams, and it makes 45, and it needs 90. So we need 90. We need 90 steel ingots, which, let's see, that is making 90 all on its own. So then that wouldn't be necessary. Alright, and then we need this to also be accelerated up to Mark II speeds. And then we need to accelerate the tap halves, and then possibly increase the input resources for this. Alright, on these blueprints, the doors are directly above each other. Alright, we now have, theoretically, if the input resources are enough, 45 steel, 90 concrete. And this is being crazy. Can I fix that? Like, I don't want the concrete spawning over there. Why is it spawning so far from the source? It looks terrible. What if I do it like that? No, that's just how it is, I guess. And the steel is doing it too. Very cool. Alright, then in terms of the concrete, we need 112.5 plus 45, so 157-ish limestone and 90 each of iron and coal. So let's head out here. And accelerate that. Hang on, how fast is this? Yeah, okay. So the coal and iron both need to be faster. And unfortunately, the source of coal is all the way over here somewhere. A million miles away. So let's run all the way over here and upgrade all of these guys. Then that probably needs to be upgraded as well. And we'll throw in a powered shard on that, just for good measure. Alright, this belt is definitely not... I definitely missed a spot somewhere. So it's still fast enough here. It's probably going to be like right up near the destination, like one of the first couple. This is going to be hard to find, isn't it? Alright. Let's hop around here. And, alright, it's that. Alright, so that is now running at full speed. And the iron looks like it might be sufficient already. The limestone definitely is not. Alright, so this... Yeah, we're just going to make this limestone belt Mark III all the way up. Hooray for dodgy fixes for things that I really should be replacing. Like that's pretty much going to be my next goal after the motors production is all set up, is I'm going to be running back and making encased industrial beams in the city. So let's amp that one up to 240 a minute. It should provide enough limestone. And it seems to be bottlenecked somewhere. Probably, again, right on the inside. Okay, that should be fine then. It's just because this is a Mark II belt, probably. Alright. I believe that I have managed to get it all functional. And I think this foundry is actually not necessary. The coal supply certainly be better. That doesn't look like 90 coal a minute going in there. It might be. I guess it is. Approximately, at least. So yeah, this would be 120, then that would be 30 and 90, so it should work. And we don't actually even need this much steel. So let's head up and see if it's had the desired effect. Is this running at 100%? It is. Alright, that is a lot of encased industrial beams. And it's still just barely filling up the depot. Goodness gracious. Alright, well, let's see here. We can't really progress as it is with our encased industrial beam supply still recovering. So, let's see, what semi-productive thing can we do? I mean, I guess we can fix some blueprints. There's all sorts of blueprints with problems. So first of all, let's load up Pure Caterium V2, see if this one has any problems that I needed to fix. Because this is one that is very, very likely to need to be expanded. Because 48 is not a lot. Alright, let's see. Right, this is one of these ones. So that needs to be upgraded, and then the rest of this is fine, I think. It was just that one spot, and then potentially it might need to be fixed on the top side as well. No, it's correct on the top side. Although these need to be upgraded to Mark IV belts. As does that one, probably. Because those are the output belts. Alright. I believe that should be all the fixing needed for this one, and I'll go back and do the same thing on the pure iron one as well. So we save that one, clear it out, load up pure iron V2, make the same fix. Where is the door? It was literally right in front of me, as usual. My inability to look one single wall up. Alright, so then that gets to be Mark III. And I believe that remains the only thing that needs to be changed. Save that one, clear the designer. Okay. There's so much junk lying in blueprint storage. And some of that junk is encased industrial beams, which is nice. Some of that junk is absolutely just junk. So let's get some AI limiters out of here. I don't need all of those iron plates. Alright, that's good. And now we have a gazillion D encased industrial beams, so we might actually be able to finish at least the crystal oscillator production with those, plus new production. So let's take this hypertube on over. And this is way more direct than the old route, which is nice. Alright, so now we get over here. And this was the spot. So let's get truck stops in here. Alright, there's that one. For two of the inputs, there's that one for the other two inputs. And there's that one for the outputs. What is bro doing? You are not a train. What is this guy up to? What was that? Alright, well, just not gonna think too hard about what just happened there. Let's add some spacing in for all of these guys. They all need the spacing for the trucks to loop out. And then hopefully this is enough space. It's going to be a little bit tight, it looks like. Plop. That one goes in there. And yeah, there is enough space. Crystal oscillators. Alright, blueprint. crystal oscillators V2. Alright, goes there. And instantly ran out of encased industrial beams again. But I shouldn't need any more. Alright, so we have 4 inputs and 1 output. So without worrying too much about it, let's just attach the 4 inputs in. And then figure out which ones are which afterwards. Alright. 2, 3, and 4 inputs. Alright, now we need to figure out what is going where. So the far right input is Caterium ingots. 1 Caterium ingots. And then this is output 2, and it is going back here, and it is plastic. 2 plastic. And then this is 3, and it's coming back here to be raw quartz. 3 raw quartz. And then this is input number 4. It's going down to the bottom floor to be rubber, probably. Just confirm that that is the case. Yep, rubber is the last one we need. 4 is rubber. So now we go out to the stops and we label them. So this is 1, it is Caterium ingots. And green is inputs, I believe. So Caterium ingots, select input Caterium ingots. And then 2 is the plastic. I'm going to copy this, paste it there, change this to plastic, change that to plastic. And then 3 is raw quartz. So we change this to raw quartz. And we change this to raw quartz. And then 4 is rubber. So we change this to rubber. And we change that to rubber. Alright, now we just need to find our billboards, put them on this side. Almost got hit by a car there, and that tractor is like hard committed to doing whatever this is. Let's get up to the top and copy paste these billboards over. Control C, just to the ones directly opposite them. Control V. Then this one, Control C, Control V. Then we have this one, Control C, Control V. Then we have this one, Control C, Control V. And we have Caterium, plastic, quartz, and rubber. And then finally, we have this one, which is going to be the lone output for crystal oscillators. So we copy that one mostly just to get the red color. And this is crystal oscillators. And it's not an input, so it is output. Crystal oscillators. Alright, so we have that. That's all set up. So we need to power these guys on and not get stuck in a random hole. So we find a power pole which is powered, and then we just bring the power along to all of these ones. So there we go. One, two, and three. How's power going, by the way? Still fine. There's a bit of a drop there. Not sure why that is. But let's not worry about it. And then the next thing we need to power up is this factory itself. Knowing me, the power pole is right there. Alright. So that is that. And now we just need to bring in all 4 inputs for this. Start with deuterium ingots. They're right there. Just a really quick loop. And there is fuel here. I remember to do that. Good. Alright. You get half a stack of fuel to start with. Then you load up there. Then you loop around here. You come out onto the main road. And then you turn here. Alright, there's something funky looking going on up there, which I might need to check out if that's a traffic jam of some kind. Let me stop there. We're going to need to set all these to unload. But it shouldn't take more than a minute to do that. Then we come along this way. And we loop around here. And then we stop in there. So we save that as deuterium ingots to oscillators. And enable autopilot, hide path nodes. Have fun with that. That's set to load. Alright, it's not doing anything. Please do something. Alright, it's doing something now. So we have to get over here, set all of these to unload. Alright, that's that. And whatever shenanigans was going on over there seems to have been resolved. So that's good to see. Alright. And then the next thing we need to do is, I was on the right tab and I changed to the wrong one. But we need to put tractors in. And we might need to attach that up to fuel. Alright, start recording. Unload there. Loop around this way. And onto the road. And now we have to go for a bit in the wrong direction. Take a U-turn real quick. Now we go for a bit in the right direction. And this is plastic, right? Yep, plastic. So we go down here. You can see the plastic output there, right on the other side of that horrible pile up. Alright, that... something has gone wrong with that truck. It is probably a power-related situation. Okay, that guy just got sent flying to the moon. Not gonna worry about that. We're just gonna load up with a whole bunch of plastic and then keep on moving. So yeah, I think somewhere along the lines that tractor back there wasn't properly hooked up to fuel, and that's why it's just stopped in the middle of the road. Alright, so if we just take this road down, the finish line is here, and in we go. So, we save this as plastic to oscillators, enable autopilot, hide path nodes, and off we go. Now I need to attach plastic to fuel and probably rescue this guy. What do you do? Something to do with empty canisters. Okay, well, you can have fuel for now. And then... okay, no, plastic is getting fuel, it's just getting it more directly, right? So somewhere out there, there's... Is the canister return itself a source of fuel? No, it is not. Let's fix that. It is a very sensible place to be a source of fuel. Alright, so that goes in there. And yeah, there's even an intersection right there. So that goes there. And congratulations, you're not going to run out of fuel again, probably. Alright. And how is the canister return going? It's potentially not keeping up? That seems wrong. It's 2 belts. It probably just got a major delivery moments ago. I'm going to assume that's what happened. Because it outright not being able to keep up would be very strange. Alright, so we have Caterium, check. We have plastic, check. I need to get personal fuel into my inventory. Next up is raw quartz. And not getting hit by a random truck. Now, where... The raw quartz stop is all the way out near the beginning, right? I'm pretty sure I know where it is. Alright, let's get this tractor in. Let's give it a little bit of fuel. And start recording. And now we just have to get all the way back over there. Now, does this road go that way? It does. good. I need to get pretty far this way. Like, as far as I'll go. So then we take a left here. And I just realized I don't know if this is standardized properly. Okay, there is an intersection there, so I can access this stop properly. That's good. Alright, so we turn around this way. We go into this unlabeled stop, which I really need to label. And loop around. And now we just have to find our way back. And got a little bit close to the barrier there. Alright. All the way up this way. And then we hang a left. And in. Save this as quartz to oscillators. And enable autopilot, hide path nodes. Off you go. And I'm going to need to bring fuel all the way over to the quartz input, otherwise that is going to run out of fuel, which would be bad. I also need to label this so it isn't just a giant mystery what exactly it is. Alright, then cool. I had the right thing pasted. So this is quartz, and it is output raw quartz. Why is typing so hard? Output raw quartz. Alright. Now I copy that. And I paste it there. And the quartz stop has been labeled. Now I need to head back to here. Put the floor hole, get the conveyor lift up. Alright, and then this floor hole needs to go find me some fuel, which is probably going to be a bit of a journey. It's all the way over there is the closest one. Alright, so then we head over this way. Alright, now we grab that. And we just bring this belt along, and easy peasy. Alright. Now what are those? Oh, those floor holes were for the old stop. So just do that. And then hopefully I'm correct that is the thing I think it is, and it is. Cool. Alright, so now we have fuel going to the quartz. So that is that problem solved. And we even have quartz. Alright, so that's 3 out of 4 inputs. And now there's just one left to do, and it's rubber. Alright, so put the tractor in. Give it half a stack of fuel. And in we go. And maneuver around there. And start heading down this way. Okay. The rubber is to the left. So we're just gonna do that. And hopefully nothing crazy happens and this is just nice and simple. And there aren't any major problems that we need to fix. That would be nice. Don't do that. Alright, we're just gonna ignore that. Half the vehicles do that anyway. I'm not gonna worry too much about it. Alright. Yikes. Good old blind corners. Alright, now we just have to go along here. And almost there. Just the last straightaway. And in. We save this as rubber to oscillators. Save that. Enable autopilot, hide path nodes. And off you go. Don't back into the street when there's another tractor coming, please. Seems very dangerous. Alright. Now let's hop in here and see if everything else is working. Quick wire is being produced. AI limiters are being produced. Quartz crystals being produced. So then the only thing is just the last bit. And also making sure that these belts are actually fast enough. How much of all this stuff do I need? Almost no Caterium, so that's going to be fine. Decent amount of raw quartz, but nothing crazy. Plastic is almost none. And then rubber, I think, is comparable to raw quartz, so I think we are good. Alright. Now we just need to wait for the rubber truck to show up, and also I don't think I ever brought fuel into this. It's trivial to do, but I just haven't done it. So this stop should be fueled. So let's put a splitter on there. Bring it up. And into that. And now the rubber will have fuel supplied to it directly, which should cause everything to work out. This should be 60 a minute. That does not look like 60 a minute. What is going on in here? 50%? That's 100%. This is 0% because it's not getting any plastic. Huh. But why? Is it throughput problems? No, it's that there's somehow rubber on this belt. Well, that was weird. Not sure how that happened, considering I'm pretty sure I fixed that problem already. And it shouldn't be physically possible for more rubber to wind up on these belts. But I fixed it now, at least. Which means that everything here should be starting up again. And how's the rubber going? Alright, outgoing is 1 billion because there's a lot piled up. And it all just got transported all at once. Which means if I go look over here, yep, there's rubber going in. And that means that... Alright, not quite. Yep. There's the rubber right now, actually. Alright, crystal oscillator is now being produced and sent off. Now, which of these outputs is the crystal oscillator's output? Left or right? The other one is not being used. Actually, this probably doesn't even have 2 outputs, right? Yep, it's the far right one. Alright, let's get that one into the output. So this one comes all the way over there. And then... Did I label this one? Oh, yeah, it's the close one, of course. Alright. And that is that. Crystal oscillator production should be all good to go. And if we pop in, they are being made approximately almost to a minute, which is almost double what I was producing in the previous factory, but I'm also going to be using 1 a minute, more than 1 a minute, so we're going to end up with almost no net production of crystal oscillators, but who needs crystal oscillator production? That is the question. Alright, so that is that. And then you had the motors V2, right? You can't look at the... You can't look at the description when you search for it. So this would need 2 inputs and 1 output. No, 3 inputs and 1 output, which would be 2 truck stops. Let's grab some of these into my inventory real quick. I have half an hour. It's probably... I don't even know if I have enough encased industrial beams to do this right now. And even if I do, it would be kind of a struggle to get it all in half an hour. So, probably going to end early again. I don't know, let's... Right, there was... No, wait, was that actually a problem with the rubber factory, or it was just because it was converted wrong? I think it was just because it was converted wrong. Let's investigate all of this. So we are definitely still accepting fresh canister input. This one is full exactly. Are they all either exactly full or very close to it? That one is full it's exactly full. This one is full, and it's actually quite far away from being precisely full. That could be a problem. It's got like 2.5 stacks. So this one has 2.5 stacks. Then this one is up to a stack. This one is at more than a stack. And this bottom one is more than a stack. So I think the top one is just like a stack-ish ahead. Which probably isn't for any nefarious reason. It's probably just because I was very much estimating when I was balancing them. And it also doesn't matter at all, really. As long as they're receiving input at the same rate, which they are. That's clearly all going the same speed. So even if it isn't perfectly balanced, it's probably close enough. Meanwhile, everything else is being produced as well. And I have to imagine that this is just going to be running perpetually for like the foreseeable future. Like this, there's no way that this is backlogged. Apparently it is. Apparently our stockpiles are more impressive than I thought. I guess it's like 4-ish industrial storage crates, which is quite a lot, but... And I guess a lot of the new uses are in secondary things like packaged water and fuel. So it will take a while for those to just trickle through into more canister needs. But at least for now, everything is looking fine. Ooh, bit of lag with the autosave. At least for now, everything is looking completely normal. And let's check the crystal oscillator's production. Just to see if these are all going to be backing up relatively quickly. Yep, deuterium ingots, easy. Plastic, easy. Raw quartz, obviously trivial. And then this one would be rubber, which I would expect, yeah, it hasn't been stockpiling for nearly as long. So there's not nearly as much rubber. But it'll stockpile eventually, and then this is the output, right? Alright, why is there no output then? Is it just because it's doing the thing where it fills up all of these? Yes. We only have 3 so far. At least 3 there, probably another 3 here. No, we have 3 total produced so far. It's been more than a minute, right? That's the production of like a minute and a half. It's been more than a minute and a half. That feels like that's something going wrong. Although, I guess this also has like weird internal nooks and crannies that need to fill up. Yeah, this is going at 100%. It should be fine. Alright, well, just gonna spend a bit more time hopping around making sure everything is working. That deuterium output looks suspicious, but it's also like only 48, right? So it's never going to be huge numbers. Yep. 100% across the board. Alright. Yeah, I think then that's just about everything. We have our encased industrial beam production massively improved. Point where we probably won't need to do much, if any, AFKing for that in the future. Like, 30 a minute is a lot. So yeah, let's call that a day then. I will be back here streaming Magic the Gathering tomorrow, Satisfactory the day after tomorrow, so Wednesday, where we will be finally finishing up this whole motor project and then starting up the next thing. And hopefully this week we will finish completely making the old factory obsolete. That would be nice. I don't know if we'll manage it all this week, but if we do, then that would be great. So yeah, that'll be tomorrow and Friday. And yeah, 2 to 5 Eastern Time. Make sure to follow if you haven't already so you get notifications. And I will